Hello, everyone. This is your host, Dennis Bagley from Rulebooks Anonymous, but you probably know that by now. And right now, I wanted to say on behalf of myself and James and Amanda, thank all of you for your support and enjoying our show and listening to it, sharing it with your friends. As of the airing of this episode, we will have finally hit about 700 listens total across all of our episodes. And that's something that we could not have done without all of you. So thank you from the bottom of my heart and from the bottom of James and Amanda's heart as well. This show is not possible without all of you helping us and listening to us and sharing. And we want to continue to entertain and bring all sorts of cool games to you guys. So please share us across social media. Let everyone know that you enjoy the show. Leave us a review. The more reviews we have on iTunes and Google Podcasts and everything, the better. It helps us to grow and expand. So thank you again for listening to us and enjoying our show. And without any further ado, on with today's episode.
Welcome to Rulebooks Anonymous.
You'll be the first person to attack someone or try to screw
Yeah, because this is a game.
I don't like it that you have 7 cards.
Yeah.
You can only have 5.
He wanted you to pay it up.
That's right.
For us to give a price would be insanity.
I was running around like a hero with my fire extinguisher.
Putting out all sorts of fires, literal and non-literal. In this game, Amanda went screaming up the mountain.
We ended up winning, didn't we?
Rulebooks Anonymous. Hey, boo-boo, you want to steal a picnic basket?
I don't know. Theft is pretty wrong, Yogi.
Oh, come on, it's a good time.
Well, my attorney says that I can't afford to go back to jail. Do you know what they do to little bears in there?
I'll be your huckleberry.
Oh, no. That took a dark turn there.
Oh. Yogi and Boo Boo, 8 Mile. Stephen King, make it a thing.
Welcome to Rulebooks Anonymous, everyone. I'm one of your hosts, James McMorrin, and I'm here with Dennis Bagley.
Yo.
And my wife.
That's me, Amanda.
No, your name is my wife.
I'm looking at your character avatar. That's what's above your
It
head.
says my wife.
Man, I'm typecasted.
You are typecasted. Today, if you didn't know it, we're going to talk about some bears.
No lions or tigers?
No lions or tigers, just bears. Lots of
Oh,
bears.
my.
Oh, bye.
Oh,
That was
my. We're not talking about Sulu either.
Frankly, Scarlet, I don't give a damn.
Oh, man.
Apparently he didn't like Shatner that much.
Oh, I don't think many people like Shatner that much.
Shatner may not even like Shatner that much. No, we can't say that. These are just speculative.
Speculative.
comments.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, don't sue us.
Please don't sue us.
We're being
I don't have any money
gossipers
anyway.
right now.
Yeah.
All my money's gone into board games. We're talking about Baren Park today. Yeah, I'm saying a lot. You're really going to hate me for this.
No, I'm not. Future Dennis is.
Future Dennis is. Sorry, Future Dennis.
Damn you, past Dennis! There we go. We have our own cutaway gag now. I'll post pictures of me looking all haggard and everything was slaving away at the
just
computer.
grow out all of the side facial hair over here so it just looks like it's been a few days.
Dennis used to be our friend, and now he
hates us.
hates us from all the stuff he has to edit out.
He just sits there at night just saying, It's just like, Hodor.
I've got my own version of that I use at work because I tell them to close the door. So now it's Clodor. I've actually yelled at it a couple of the students at work. I go, Clodor! And it's like, what?
They don't get it.
They don't get it, but they will.
I was going to say, I really hope that 6th grade and under doesn't know what you're talking about because they probably shouldn't be watching Game of Thrones.
Oh, come on. Their parents are buying them Call of Duty and Grand Theft Auto.
No, it's okay to shoot people, Dennis. Just not okay to have, well, weird sex stuff or fantasy violence.
Can you say sex?
Yeah. We just did.
Can I not say sex?
No, I've told you, the
I
big
was being
three.
smart, Alec.
You can't say the big three.
Oh. So
Like-
no AMD or Intel or Motorola.
The big five. Amazon, Apple, Google. Microsoft. Oh,
I'm not going to say any of them.
What was the other one? Crud, I used to know this.
Salesforce? Is it Salesforce now?
I don't know.
Salesforce might have taken it. They're up there.
Maybe.
They've gotten really big. They're everywhere. And they bought Tableau. I'm really sad about it.
Apple, Amazon, Google, Microsoft. Yeah, there's one more. Damn, I'm gonna look that up now.
Walmart.
GM?
No, it's not. It's not
I
that.
know.
It's another tech company. Facebook.
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 Yeah.
Actually,
Mhm.
yeah, that's the
MySpace. No? I swear
My
it was
book.
MySpace. My book. Yeah, my book.
Well, a couple months ago, they revealed that MySpace servers, when they were doing some kind of upgrade, lost like the last 15 years worth of data, and most people were scratching their heads, going, "It's still around?
Yeah.
They kept that?"
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's all there.
It just makes me sad to think that it's been that long.
All right, we're getting dark here.
15 years.
That was back when I was stupid and had arguments with people online.
Oh, yeah. We all did that.
Yeah, I've gotten better about that occasionally.
I just ignore everyone. It's
Yeah.
simpler. So
Baren Park, James.
We're going to talk about Baren Park. We are absolutely the worst about getting sidetracked. But
It's
we're going to talk
Dennis's
about
fault.
Baren Park. It's definitely future Dennis's fault. Baren Park is a game for 2 to 4
Futurist
players.
Dennis doesn't care.
Baren Park is a game for 2 to 4 players. It's ages 8 and up. Playtime is 30 to 45 minutes. I think that's about right.
Yeah, no chance of anything beyond 4 players, right? Just because of the limitations.
4
on the
players,
pieces.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And which is what we had.
Yes.
And it's designed by...
No. This one we didn't have.
We had
Lisa
3
with us.
players.
Oh,
It was
it's
just the
us
3
three.
of us.
Mhm.
Okay.
And it was designed by Phil Walker Harding. In Baren Park, players take turns adding tiles to their player boards to build out their very own bear park in various countries, which I think is really cool that they did that. They have the different flags and the writing of Bear Park on the player boards, the starting player boards.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of German-ish names. on
Well,
there.
I mean, it's a German game.
That makes sense. Yeah, because you had like Deutschland and Germany and
It's
Sweden.
springtime. No, I'm not even going to sing it. Where
Leave
was
us
I?
alone, Mel Brooks.
We love Mel Brooks. The goal of the game is to earn the most points based on pieces chosen. The boards filled, and the bonus cards that you fulfill. Each round, players will place an existing piece in that they have next to their tableau on their player board.
Tableau.
Tableau.
Oh, that's your big square,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
That's your starting square.
Okay, I didn't realize it had a name.
That's
The name's Big Square.
Tableau is more of a generic term for your little board piece.
Table. Oh, okay.
Yeah, not table specifically.
Not table.
Tableau.
Tablet.
Yeah, put it on the tableau. So you're going to place pieces on your board, and if you cover up certain symbols, it allows you to get either new pieces, new player boards, up to 4. You can have up to 4 player boards total to build out your park. And after a player has filled up 4 boards, the other players get 1 final turn, and then the points are tallied based on what I said before.
And the symbols that you're covering are like, I'm going to say it, and everyone's going to, a manhole thing.
As opposed to a woman hole.
Oh, God. And then
Was that
there's-
too far?
there's some,
Nah, we're okay.
there's some construction workers and a wheelbarrow, and then there's trucks, and they're all worth different pieces that you can get.
What kind of hole do construction workers have?
The clown hole.
God damn.
You know, the way that this works out with placing the pieces on it, it paints kind of a gruesome picture when you think about it. Because are you squishing the construction workers, or are you feeding them to the bears?
You're feeding them to the bears.
Oh, okay.
They're definitely bear bait.
The bear likes the manholes.
It's finger looking good.
Oh my god.
So,
And we're gonna edit all that out. So,
what's his wee stuff?
future Dennis is gonna edit all that out.
Damn you!
So, basically, the way that it works is it's like Tetris, and you're building out your park, trying to get all those pieces to fit correctly in there.
And the pieces are different bear habitats.
Bear habitats, toilets, which is one of my favorites.
That's the single square. For
Single
when you
square
created
outhouses.
Something weird.
Yep.
Those are more just like filler pieces.
They are. They don't
Those are
score
total
You
you.
don't want to
fillers.
use too many of those because they're not worth anything.
Well, they're not worth anything unless they're on a bonus card that says.
oh, gotcha.
Because we had one of our bonus cards was you had to have I think it was 5 of the green small pieces touching.
I don't think that you could actually build up an entire table with nothing but outhouses. I don't know if you'd have enough.
You would take the whole game because they're small pieces.
Because it's like a 4x4 grid, isn't it?
And if anyone,
Yeah. And there's only 10 toilets, so you would have to have at least like one park surrounded by toilets. No, 2. Oh, if you did 2 playgrounds, because those are 2x1s,
Okay.
you could do 2 playgrounds in the middle, and then surround it with toilets.
You have to go through the toilets to get
Now you get to
playground.
go crap in the woods like a bear.
Does a bear beep in the woods?
Do you have a problem with poo sticking to your fur? No?
They use Charmin.
Yeah, they're the Charmin bears.
I thought they used rabbits.
No, raccoons. They get really, really bitey. So yeah, basically you're playing a game of Tetris on what ultimately becomes 4 4x4 boards.
And you can place those however you want. If you want to make a big square,
As long as you touch your starting pieces.
just
so
touch it.
Just touch it. It has to be adjacent.
Just a little tap.
You can't, just a little tap. Just a little dabble, do ya?
Linking the manholes together.
You gotta link all your manholes together. It's like the human centipede.
Aww. Imagine that being turned into a musical. Such classics as... I'm keeping that in. I don't care.
We've definitely gone down some sort of a hole. I didn't know we could turn this game into something so
Dark.
suggestive.
Okay. Well, one of the fun things about this is that depending on what you're covering, when you squish the people to feed them to the bears, or you're knocking over construction equipment, it gets you different pieces, which have varying points as well as varying kind of janky shapes.
Yeah, some of these shapes are definitely a little bit strange.
Yeah, there's you've got your standard Tetris shaped blocks, the Z shapes and the L shapes, and of course the
And
giant
the cross,
squares.
yeah.
Yeah, and then when you get your more janky shapes, it looks like
Like a U.
yeah, one looks like a swastika fail. One looks like like stairs kind of.
Yep, stairs. There's
Yeah.
one that looks like a
T.
billy club.
One of those T's, but it's like got a growth.
It's a T with a growth.
That's what it looks like.
It definitely does.
You
But
can
yeah.
see- yeah, and those ones, when you place those, you get a lot more points, and that's how Amanda ended up beating us.
Oh God, you did win this one,
I
didn't
won
you?
by a lot.
Yeah,
You got a
you-
it was like 30-point difference at least with me. I think it was
I
closer
think it was.
with you.
Yeah, I think she maybe got me by 8 or 10
I was
points.
just using up all the big pieces that I could use because those are worth like 6 to 9 points.
Is it 6 to 9 or is it 6 to 8?
I think it's 9 is the highest, right?
Is it?
9.
And
It is a German game.
James, I wasn't even trying to get the bonuses. James got a couple bonuses, so
And those are the cards that have the special conditions, like certain things touching.
You have to have
one of
so many
each.
bathrooms.
Yeah, one of each habitat for the most part, because you got your ice bears, your polar bear and ice bear is the same thing.
That would be the same
Actually,
thing.
I think we all got at least one bonus. I think we all got the 4 square.
I think you guys at least got one, and then I had
You had,
all
like,
3 of them.
all the bonuses.
And we had the polar bears. We had the green areas, which was you had to have 6 green areas touching. And the other one was it the enclosures? Oh man, I don't remember. It's one of the other ones. But yeah, I definitely got points for that as well. And it just wasn't enough because I didn't get to finish my last board. I was short. If I had finished my last board, it would have been plus or minus a point or 2 between the 2 of us.
I think that's what helped me win. I was using the big, huge pieces, and so I filled my board really fast, and then I also was getting good points from that.
I was just taking a kind of a slow approach and filling like 1 square.
You were doing the methodical fill, trying to make sure like you did it almost in layers. Like literally you were playing Tetris.
It's hard to get that mentality out because I played so much Tetris, which is very helpful when you're ever moving, because you'll be amazed at how well you can pack a truck if you played enough Tetris.
This game would be really difficult to play if you have like OCD, because I had like my pandas all together, and I didn't try to arrange it neatly. Like I had random bathrooms and places, and I wasn't trying to think about placing things.
Oh
nicely.
Yeah, mine was totally random. This would probably drive my wife Lisa nuts. If like having the polar bears next to the desert bears, or
the koalas. Those dang old koalas.
Aren't they? Are they really bears?
Koalas are not actually
koalas
bears.
are not bears. They're marsupials,
right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. But they're in the game though.
Bears don't scare me. Marsupials do, because they're fast.
They got muscles.
Stare at you while they're chewing the bamboo. It's terrifying. It really is.
I heard that koalas actually have a pretty scary scream. They sound like children
Screaming.
Screaming.
Creepy.
Is that as bad as the goats that sound like humans?
No, was that
Throw him right on. Just back that bus right over him.
I didn't do it. It wasn't me.
Okay, that was my go attempt.
The one cool thing that I'll point out is this game is a 4-player game. And I don't know if anybody knew this, and I'm really just going off on a tangent, but it's currently raining outside. Like, a lot.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't supposed to today.
No, and it's like, June, and it's pouring rain. But no, the cool thing about this game is it's a 4-player game as compared to the game Patchwork. And Patchwork is very similar in that you are putting in different pieces, the Tetris style play, but you're doing it with a quilt. But Patchwork is only for 2 players, which is the downside. Now, I will say that at this point, between my mother and I have played probably somewhere around 150 games of Patchwork.
How many of those have you won?
Not many. My mom destroys me.
Didn't she also destroy you at Baren Park?
She absolutely did. First time I played Baren Park was with my mother on Mother's Day and my younger brother. And she shredded us. She's very good at the spatial relation type game, knowing where to put pieces. She's always looking 4 or 5 moves ahead.
Oh, she's one of those players.
That's how I won. I was always...
So Patchwork is a little bit different in that you, instead of placing pieces and gaining the ability to get new pieces, you're paying buttons, and you get more buttons as you go along. It's like currency.
Oh, okay.
And you get the different pieces by paying for them. They have different costs associated. My mom will know what piece I'm going to take before I take it. Even 2 rounds into the game, when our boards are basically empty.
To be
She's
fair,
a mind reader.
yeah. To be fair, you're no one's going to know you better than your own mother.
That's fair, but I would argue that this is not exactly I don't know.
Strategy game?
Like an intuitive... No, it's a strategy game, but an
Okay.
intuitive thing to know that someone's going to take that piece versus a different piece. But she does, and she plans to... Basically, she'll go, I don't really want that piece, but I know he does, so I'm going to take it. Over
his mom-
and over and over again.
His mom is not normally like a facetious player. Like she's always like trying to play nice. So it's funny that she does that.
Oh, the gloves come off and
Oh.
she's out for blood.
She's the nicest lady in the world until you play a game against her and she will
No,
eat you
just
alive.
this game. Like other games.
Oh no, she has other games she can get mean with too.
Because usually when we play with your mom, she's always like trying to not ruffle any feathers.
A family game that we spent a lot of time playing in the past was, I can't remember the name.
Aggravation?
Aggravation, thank you. And she would be the one that she makes a move where it knocks you out and you go back to the home area in
And
Aggravation.
she'd be like, I'm so
Oh,
sorry.
And
God.
she'd go, oh, I'm sorry, but she'd have this little smile because she's not really sorry. But Patchwork is absolutely a great game. So if you're looking for a two-player version, obviously Baren Park can play 2 players, but Patchwork can also play 2 players, and I love both.
They're
of them.
both
They're both great
fairly
games.
quick.
They're very quick, and either one are simple to learn. It took maybe max of 5 minutes to learn either of these games.
So
Like
with
when
Patchwork, it's similar. So you're still filling a board,
You're
right?
still filling a board, but you only have one board in this case. And
Okay.
the game has a time limit based on a track that you're traveling along. You have a little piece, and it moves towards the center of this track, and once you reach the center, that's the end of the game. So the one thing I like more about Baren Park over Patchwork is the game is longer, so I feel like I can get kind of a rhythm going.
Okay.
Whereas there are games in Patchwork where I feel like I just start getting in stride, and then the game ends.
Oh.
But I think that might be more to do with the designer Uwe Rosenberg. I think a lot of his games are kind of like that. Like you just start to get that engine going, and that's when he shuts you down.
And then a difference that I kind of noticed just from you talking about Patchwork is the currency. In Baren Park, you don't
Yeah, there's no currency.
have currency at all. The pieces that you get are based on how you place your.
I don't know. I would argue that there is
Previous
currency
pieces.
of blood.
and
You're
Bear
squishing-
blood.
Well, you're squishing people in order to place things. And, of course, the manholes.
manholes.
There are no manholes in Patchwork, right?
Manhole blood.
Oh no!
Isn't that the name of a band? Straight up Gangsta Polka.
Gangsta Polka. So it's Weird Al's like fusion experiment.
Maybe. God, that would be weird.
Weird Al rap.
Yeah, polka rap.
Is it Gangsta's Paradise? Living in a Gangsta's Paradise.
Amish
Maybe.
paradise.
What?
That.
No. We can do better. You know, Gangsta Bagpipes.
Ooh.
That would be weird, too. Okay. Everyone look at Amanda. Her alarm went off. Or is that a text?
It was an alarm.
Oh.
The dang alarm
I-
person.
I was thinking it was set to 3, and I was surprised it hadn't gone off. So I was like, "Oh, we're good.
Okay.
We're good.
Sorry,
We're totally good.
it only went off once.
Oh,
It turned off real fast.
yeah, that's true.
It's fine.
It was
I
real
don't know
fast.
if I can edit that out. Well, I don't have to. Future Dennis does.
Uh,
He's getting more haggard as we talk.
Or future Dennis.
Again, Dennis used to be our friend.
But if you like Tetris and you like board games
And manholes.
and bears,
Oh, my.
I would suggest checking out Baren Park and or Patchwork as well.
Now, these are pretty easy to find for the most part, right? Or
Baren Park was out of print for a little while, and it was a bit harder to find, but I believe that it's pretty available at the moment.
We got it online, right? From
No, Baren Park actually got at the local gaming store here. They had it. Patchwork I bought at Gen Con last year.
Okay.
Because this was the one I have is Patchwork Express, which streamlines the game a little bit compared to the original version, which was pretty streamlined itself.
So you streamlined a streamline.
Yeah,
Impressive.
They made a couple little tweaks to it. It was nothing major, but it was primarily, as I recall, it reduced the currency, so you weren't like trying to do a bunch of exchanges of currency, the buttons. So it was simplified that aspect of it and things like that. But
For more on our thoughts on game currency, see one of our previous episodes.
Yeah.
Don't ask me which one. I don't remember. It's all a blur.
Nobody remembers. I am going to throw a slight caveat out there right now. I guess it's not a caveat, but it's more of a informational.
Okay.
Right now on Kickstarter, there is, I don't remember the name of the company, but they're pretty popular for doing this. They have what they call their iron clays, and they're basically like really heavy poker chips because they have a piece of metal inside of them that weights them down, and they're clay on the outside, clay and like limestone. And if you need to replace your currency in a game, whether it be Monopoly or things like that, these things are great for that.
Cool.
And they come in like a nice little magneted case, or you can they have a box too, a wooden box,
Mm-hmm.
and you can get 2 sets of 100 apiece, and they're really, really nice.
Nice.
Or you can look for our app that we're going to make someday.
We're going to make a currency app someday with all of our programming skills between the three of us.
Look, I pushed the limit of what skills I have when I'm editing.
I can do QBasic. That's still a language, right? We still use that?
I'll contact my brother about that and see if he can design an app.
Is Basic still a language?
It's a basic language.
It's basic.
Yeah.
Only basic white girls use it.
I am a basic white girl.
We know.
I like Starbucks.
Oh yeah,
I
the
like
pumpkin
Starbucks.
spice lattes.
Oh, yeah.
Boots.
I even have a shirt that says I love pumpkin spice season on it.
It's your favorite season.
I think it stopped raining.
It did stop raining.
Are you sure it wasn't someone just spraying the back of your house with a hose?
It was Old Man Winter.
It could have been Old Man Winter.
Quiet down in there, you
Quiet
whippersnappers.
Dang it, Billy!
Billy. Yeah, both are great games, and I think you should check them out.
I haven't played Patchwork, but I'm sure I would like it. I really did like Baren Park. It was not only because I won, but it was just really easy. It was such an easy game to learn. It took us no time.
It was quick to pick up, quick to play.
Yes, I enjoyed that too. Need to work on not being so methodical about my approach next time.
Got to do more throw it at the wall, see what sticks.
Yeah, the funny pieces will stick.
The funny piece as well. So we want to
as we travel down the manhole, what is our next topic?
We have devolved into children. So what we're going to talk about now is rules enforcement in games.
Oh yes, we can't exactly say what we all mean when we say what was it, rule lawyers?
Rules lawyers, yeah.
Yeah, the other term that a lot of people will throw out is folks
Not
from
PC.
1940s Germany. Thank you so much for making it so that we can't say this, YouTube and various other outlets. As otherwise, just saying the word can get us removed.
Yeah.
I kind of like the lawyer one, though.
Rule lawyers.
I like
Rules
rule lawyers.
Yeah, rule lawyers is going to work because you're negotiating and
Yeah.
and
Because it's
Lawyers
people
are
getting like
cutthroat.
really staunchy about it. Like, now, this is the rules. Rah.
Well, and that's kind of what we're referring to is, one of the classic examples is when you're learning a game and you take your turn and say you're supposed to get some money or something at the end of your turn, like you collect a resource, and the turn has moved on to the next player, and the next player started their turn, they're starting to do whatever, and you go, oh man, I completely forgot. I was supposed to get X, Y, or Z. Do you stop them from getting it because their turn has passed, or do you allow them to continue and grab it?
Now, from another game that I played with my son that we'll talk about at another time, we did allow him to go back because it was just, at first he wasn't paying attention.
Sure.
I mean, he's 7. Okay, I mean, 7-year-olds' attention spans are not that long.
My attention span's not that long.
Okay, let's face it. The reality is most people's attention spans cannot be held for too long.
No, it's accurate.
But with him, we're all still trying to learn the game at this point too, because I had screwed up on the rules the very first round that we played, and he's still learning to read as well. So we would have to read the different powers on the cards for his character and everything. And we've said it enough times, looking at the picture, he should know what it is. And so I think the third time that we played, we're like, okay, we're not going to help you. If you forget to do this or this or this, we're not going back. That's just going to be a lost opportunity, because at some point you have to take the training wheels off.
And that's kind of how I feel about it. Like, I think it's okay when you're just learning the game and it's new to everyone and you're still getting used to it. I don't think that you should enforce the rules as much. But after a certain amount of time of playing, it's kind of like, come on.
Yeah, within reason.
Yeah.
Well, okay, let me throw out something else. What if it generally has no impact on the game in terms of it doesn't impact future players' decision-making, that, you know, the decisions that they've made, i.e., you have infinite money on the table that's available, and I just forgot to grab my $1.
It just depends on how much you like the person, I guess.
So personal bias is going to play.
That's the most biased answer I've ever heard.
Has this happened before?
If someone's like really making you mad, you could just be a stingy person.
Because I've been in situations where stuff like that's happened, and to both me, myself, I've forgotten, or to other people, and I've also been in situations where it's been allowed, and I've also been in situations where it's not been allowed, where they go, nope, you screwed up, sorry, moving on. And I don't know how I feel about it.
I think it would also depend on the complexity of the game as well.
Sure, and absolutely, if it has an impact on the turn that someone's already taken, i.e., there was a specific piece, and you go, oh, I was supposed to get that piece. Well, sorry, you're out of luck, you messed up,
Exactly.
Turn has moved on. I'm a little bit more lax personally on it when it comes to resources or money, things like that. If it's just mainly like a...
if it's to create an advantage.
But then the argument would be that if I forgot to grab my $1 or something at the end of a turn in some certain game, any amount of money that I gained that I had forgotten would create an advantage.
Maybe a significant advantage.
And that's kind of where I said, like, if it's a specific piece that's available and someone's taken it, obviously by you taking that piece away from them and them having to redo their turn, you've created a significant advantage for yourself by doing that. So in that instance, I don't think you should be able to go back and make adjustments.
If it's going to affect... Yeah,
if it affects future players
else
that have already taken their turn now with the expectation that, well, they didn't pick that piece or, you know, whatever. And so now it's impacted multiple players in the game, especially if it's gone all the way around to your original turn and you're like, oh, man, I screwed up. And it's like, sorry, bud.
Well, one of the things that I taught my kids how to play was chess, and one of the rules in chess,
if you take your hand off.
Take your hand off the piece. That's your move.
Yep.
And at first, because I was teaching them, I was a little lax on that, because chess, one move can change the entire flow of the game. You know, even something you might think is insignificant, like just moving a pawn, but when it came to... You know, my daughter catches on real quick. She's too smart for my own good. So once she got to the point where I know that she knows how all the pieces move, I know that she can actually think a couple moves ahead, I had to take back letting her take her hand off the piece and saying that was, you know, oops, I didn't mean to.
Sure.
So I think that within reason, when you're teaching, it's okay to bend the rules or maybe go back. But if it's an established player or if it's somebody that really knows, because I mean, if we're playing D&D, you know, guys, I mean, granted, we play fast and loose with our rules and everything. Sure. But if you're not paying attention, and you should, then I'm sorry, I wouldn't let you go back. Because it doesn't take that much attention to make sure that you're you see what's going on.
And another situation is when someone tries to make a certain type of move, and in a game, whatever the move may be, it doesn't really matter. But and either A, you can't find whether or not that rule is allowed, or that move is allowed per the rules.
So it falls in a gray area?
It falls in a gray area, or the rule is pretty ambiguous. I typically, and this is actually a carryover from D&D, in which they say if you don't know the rule, make it up. And if you don't want to make it up, just let it go. As long as you keep the game moving forward. And that's what I typically try and do in board games is if I can find the rule quickly, like within my turn, I'll try and apply the rule as it should be.
Okay.
But if the rule's ambiguous, I usually say, this is what I would interpret this as. And I ask the group, and if the group agrees, that's what we go with. And if they disagree, then we go with whatever the other interpretation of the rule is. And the goal there is to not take what should be a 40-minute game and make it a 2-hour game because we're looking up every single rule, making sure that we're following them to the letter.
That just takes away from the enjoyment.
Well, exactly.
Yeah, there's been lots of times where, because a lot of these games that we are playing is the first time, and James is just kind of like, well, we'll either start now that we know, or we're just going to keep playing the way that we've been playing.
Yeah, if it's something like every player... There was a rule I messed up recently, and I don't even remember which one it was.
There's been so many.
Within our circle, we have
Not just
James that knows the rules or can learn these rules pretty quick, and so he teaches the rest of us. But not every group is fortunate enough to have a James. So, and you can't have ours. We're not renting him out.
He's our James.
Like our
We
previous
own him.
episode where we talked. You do. That's what that ring has.
I have a ring on it.
The fine print on the inside of the ring.
I liked it. I put a ring on it. It's mine.
One ring to rule him, one ring to find him. Take him in the bedroom. Wait, oh.
Whoa!
Oh.
Yeah, we're going so far. We're really pushing the envelope with some of
We
those.
are pushing the envelope too. But yeah, no, that's definitely something that I try and apply in games is ensuring that people are having fun. If it completely wrecks the game, which I very rarely had, because generally
it's unfair to another player.
Or yeah, it's unfair because of how something was ruled, then I try and do my best to mitigate that. And then the next time we play it, I try and make sure I remember that rule. Sometimes you can mark it in your rule book, as something to pay attention to. Or if you're really good at keeping mental notes, you just remind yourself, okay, I remember. Well.
I feel like James is a lot better now, though, than he used to be.
Oh, I used to be awful.
He used to be a stingy rule person.
I used to go and I'd go, okay, here's the game, here's the rules, let's play. And I would miss, really important stuff, stuff that really had a bearing on the game, and so I'd win a lot because I wouldn't tell them key things, and it wasn't intentional. It was just I wouldn't think about it.
Unintentionally created that unfair advantage.
Yes.
Well, now he's got the disadvantage because now he is so busy trying to help everyone else play. He is probably usually losing a lot more now.
That's generally been the common theme. Is typically I'm teaching people. And so on their turn, I try and help them out a little bit if I see a good opportunity that they're not seeing. And by doing so, I lose a lot.
Well, in the future, I do have a couple of games that you don't have, which is extremely surprising. Because, you just completely dwarfs the collection of board games I have. Bob Ross board game.
Oh,
so
yeah,
I will
play that one.
I will take on the role of the James.
I appreciate that.
Yes.
It's very much like people DMing in D&D a lot of the time in groups, and I'm not just specifically saying ours, but in groups in general, one person is always the DM, and so they never get to be a player.
Yeah, you have to be the rule keeper.
Yeah.
We're lucky that we have Dennis now that he can...
Dennis is going to grab on and be the DM soon, and I think...
I've got so many fun plans for that, too.
And I think
Maybe
what we should
someday I'll
honestly
do it.
do is just get a game going as soon as baby's here and vacations are over, so probably early August to late August, maybe set up our own game and just start going with that.
We'll just jump right in.
And
Baby
if
can
you want to
play.
bring your dad in and whatnot, we can definitely do that.
Hudson
We can.
can be a little elf or something.
Yeah, he's in charge.
He's a
Hudson's
troll.
in charge.
There we go.
He's a troll. He's a baby troll.
So we can run with mine, and then
Yep.
we'll just play it like, okay, people who haven't played or our normal group and just aren't there. They're just on vacation or something.
They go.
Yeah. I mean,
They went on their own adventure.
And it's going to be interesting because this will be my first time DMing, so
I'm
I will do my best because okay, so
Golden rule. All
Yeah.
you got to do is keep the game moving.
I focus a lot on story, so the mechanics are going to be interesting for me.
Perfectly fine.
One of my closest friends, Jeff, he was telling me about this episode of The Big Bang Theory a few years back, and it was one where the whole group is playing, and they had Howard as DM, and
Which one's Howard?
he's the one with the bowl cut,
The astronaut
the Jewish guy.
who becomes an astronaut.
He's the one that's married to the blonde. With
I am so
the
far behind
high-pitched
on
voice.
seasons, I could not tell you.
He's married to the blonde.
He's the one that lives with his mother.
Oh yeah, okay.
Okay.
Astronaut. Got it.
Yeah, so Howard...
Spoiler.
Okay. I
Sorry.
don't know if I'll ever get a chance to catch up and whatever.
I saw the last scene.
Okay.
We only know
Go ahead.
because my grandpa watches it when we're there.
Well, this particular episode, they're playing D&D, and Howard was the DM, and Jeff was telling me, this is what I imagine playing D&D with you would be like. I was like, well, what do you mean? And Howard just starts busting out all these different voices for the different characters in there. So he's got like Nicolas Cage, he's got like
Oh yeah, that would
Christopher
definitely be you.
Walken, and all sorts of stuff. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to lie, that probably is what it's like to play with me.
So I'm going to give you a fair warning. We're devolving into D&D talk, but that's okay.
That's okay.
I'm going to give you a fair warning on this, and the warning is you can do voices. Just keep in mind, the bigger your world gets and the more people come into that world, the more voices you have to try and remember.
I really do have like a running list of who has what voice.
Okay.
Just to keep it in my head to keep me
No, that's
sane.
fair.
Yeah, well,
That's what happens is you start adding more and more people, and eventually you're like, I don't have any more accents, I don't have any more voices I can do, and I don't remember what their voice even sounds like.
James has been reading Phantom Tollbooth with Penny, and he can't keep track of all the voices.
That's
that
what
he
happened to
chooses.
me in there too. Like in the very beginning, it was fine because there was only like 5 or 6 characters, and then it became 10, and then 20, and now they're up to like 55 characters, and I'm like, I don't
Lord.
remember.
I don't remember.
there exists a list somewhere of all the different voices I can do. I just have no idea where it is. It sucked in high school because someone would get a hold of my list, and I kid you not, an entire class was just dedicated to me standing up in front and entertaining everyone instead of like doing science or social studies or whatever it was.
You just ruined a bunch of people's education. Gosh.
Yeah, you did.
I know. I didn't even have like a cool title. I was just known as the guy that does the voice of Bill Clinton. I was like, you
Can you
couldn't
do
come-
Monica Lewinsky?
No. I can't do that one on the air. So
Oh goodness.
no, with the D&D stuff, like I said, I've got the list of the different characters and all of that. Speaking of losing track, so going back to last episode where I talked about Team 4-Star, they do Dragon Ball Z Abridged.
Sure.
And they do the movies from time to time as well. So they did one where you have one character is sent back in time, and it's like the previous version of his species, and they all sound like Kermit the Frog with rapper names. So you have Tupac, Dre, RZA, all of them, and it's just they all sound like Kermit the Frog, and so it pans back.
Kermit the Frog.
Yeah. Hello, stranger. You were unconscious and we found you by our village. So, I mean, they and the thing is, they kind of break the fourth wall a little bit with that because you have it's Goku talking to Gohan and telling him that's the story of how your grandpa became the legendary Super Saiyan. And so Gohan's like, well, why do they all sound the same? I couldn't remember who was who, honestly, so I just ran with it. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to lie, I'd probably do that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everyone's starting to sound the same. Yeah, screw it, you're all Christopher Walken now.
Yep.
That's the easiest one to do.
Yeah, it's the one that I get the most requests for.
But yeah, so rules is basically
I think that
Poor
you know,
James.
playing too fast and loose with the rules,
It can wreck the game.
it can.
Because it can throw the balance off, because a lot of these games have very specific rules because they're balanced that way within that rule set. And so if you start tweaking and changing, you are effectively changing the game.
Yeah, I mean, everyone talks about rules are meant to be broken. No, not all rules are meant to be broken. You don't break the rule of gravity, for example.
But like I said, it could also be, depending on how petty you are, it could be a way to get back at someone.
I really
you
feel
don't
like there's
that
some
much.
kind of story behind that.
I feel like if you're playing a game with someone, you genuinely probably like that person most of the time and don't
Maybe.
want to screw them over.
Well, maybe like you like that person, but they made you mad or something. So you're like, I'm gonna
I
do
have stories of player X regards to that.
So
See?
like when I play with Chad and I try and destroy him, and then I lose.
Yeah.
Is there's like this frenemy kind of thing going?
No, Chad and I are just ultra competitive against each other.
Oh, okay.
Like when we
It
play
works
against
in
other
my
people,
favor.
we're fine. It's just when we play against each other, we immediately go after each other constantly. I think we've talked about this before.
Yeah, I think it was episode 1 or 2 where you said this is basically Amanda wins.
Yeah, every single game when it's the three of us, it's Amanda wins because him and I. It's literally so. We build up a civilization in some game, whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm just
Amanda
making
wins.
this up.
Civilization.
It could be civilization. And Manda builds up her civilization. All of a sudden, we all have nukes. Him and I just point them at each other and launch. And it's just a barren wasteland. And Manda's sitting over there going, I don't know what's going on with these guys.
I win.
You're Sweden.
Effectively.
Yeah.
And we're
Very
Russia
nice
and the
German.
U.S. with him being Russia because he's a commie. Just kidding.
Love you, Chad.
We might have lost the Russian audience.
And Chad.
Da.
We're talking about old Russia.
Yeah, not new Russia.
Not wait.
I don't know.
Worse?
Honestly, I don't
I don't know
know.
which one's worse.
We're really straying. Man, we've covered all sorts of things. Yeah. So.
We've lost a lot of audience.
I hope not.
All the audience. Just kidding.
So, anyways.
So yeah.
Final thoughts, just in general.
Anybody got anything?
I think that you should pick up Patchwork and Baren Park.
Both of them. They're both
Both of
relatively
them.
cheap too.
Yes, and you should play them both with a loved one and don't enforce the rules so much that you're a lawyer, a rule lawyer.
Yeah, don't be a rules lawyer. Just play to have fun.
Yes.
Have lots of fun with it.
It's important to have fun. If you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong.
It's summer. It gets too hot outside. Play some games in your air-conditioned home if you have one,
I agree.
hopefully.
It's hot. Don't go outside.
It's
That's
gross
where the
out
sun
there.
is.
Yep.
But
Okay.
yeah, so you've been listening to Rulebooks Anonymous. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and The Mind.
Minds.
Minds. Dang it. I'm gonna get it.
Minds.
Minds.
Yes.
M-I-N-D-S. I'm going to get it. You can find the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Spreaker. Leave us a review on whichever platform you're on that has
A review platform.
Leave us more reviews. All the reviews.
Constructive criticism is welcome.
Exactly.
Unless it's mean and hurts my feelings.
we
I cry
can't
very
get better.
easily. I'm pregnant.
Yeah, she's got the hormones going.
Yeah, we can't get better unless you guys are giving us feedback.
Yeah, give the feedback.
Good feedback.
But we'll see you here next time at Rulebooks Anonymous, where we sponsor your addiction.
Farewell.
Bye.
You've been listening to Rulebooks Anonymous. You can find us on social media at Rulebooks Anonymous on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Minds.com. Rulebooks Anonymous is available on Spreaker, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and CastBox.